Have you ever dreamed of just escaping the 9 to 5 grind for good? I mean, really, waking up and owning your day every single day. Well, today we're going to break down a super clear, actionable path to living entirely off dividend income so you can finally reclaim your time and, your life. All right, let's get into it.
You know that thought? It hits you like a ton of bricks, right? Usually on a Sunday night, or maybe after a just miserable day at the office. You're drained, you feel completely stuck, and the thought of doing it all over again feels, well, impossible. That little moment of desperation, for a lot of people, that's the spark. That's what ignites the whole quest for real freedom.
And here's the thing about that feeling. It is not just you, not by a long shot. It's this massive, collective experience, almost like a silent epidemic of dissatisfaction that's affecting the majority of the working world.
And the data absolutely backs this up. According to a huge Gallup study, a staggering 52% of people are not engaged at work. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. More than half the workforce is just going through the motions, feeling totally disconnected from the one thing they spend most of their waking hours doing. It's kind of wild.
And for a lot of folks, it's actually getting worse, not better. 40% of workers feel like their job quality has actually gone downhill. And with remote work kind of blurring all the lines, work hours are just creeping longer and longer. And come on, let's be real. The thrill of a paycheck is great, but it wears off fast. It pays the bills, sure, but it rarely feeds the soul.
Okay, but here is the good news. There is a way out of this. And no, this isn't about winning the lottery or some crazy get-rich-quick scheme. This is a real strategy that doesn't rely on luck at all, but on a clear mathematical plan. So let's talk about the dream of real freedom.
The whole concept is called dividend freedom, and honestly, it is a total game changer. It simply means that your investment portfolio is generating enough passive income through dividends to pay for everything you need. We're talking your mortgage, your groceries, your travel, all of it covered. Suddenly, work becomes a choice, not a cage.
So, you might be thinking, if this path is so great, why isn't everyone on it? Well, it turns out most people get stopped cold by a few very common but very powerful roadblocks, and understanding what they are is the first crucial step to blowing right past them.
People usually fail for one of three big reasons. First, just a simple lack of awareness. I mean, it's kind of shocking, but only 56% of Americans own any stock at all. So for almost half the country, this isn't even on the radar. Second is a lack of funds. With over half the population living paycheck to paycheck, there's often just nothing left over to invest. And finally, there's the lack of a plan. Even people who do invest often just do it randomly, without a clear goal or a consistent strategy.
But okay, here's where it gets really exciting. Because achieving this isn't some kind of magic, it's just math. And the formula is, believe it or not, beautifully simple. Let's break down the one equation that governs this entire journey to freedom.
Here it is. Your entire financial freedom number boils down to just two things: how much you spend every year and the average dividend yield your investments are kicking off. That's it. What you spend directly decides the size of the financial engine you need to build.
So let's see how this plays out with a real-world example. Let's say your annual living costs are about $60,000. And let's assume a pretty conservative average dividend yield of 3%. Well, the math says your portfolio goal is $2 million. That's the number. That's the amount that would generate 60 grand a year for you, passively, forever.
Now, I know, I get it. Seeing a number like $2 million can feel, well, a little intimidating, maybe even impossible. But I really want you to hear me on this. It is an attainable goal for most people, as long as they have the right strategy in place.
So what is that strategy, right? How do we build that $2 million engine in the shortest time possible? Well, it all comes down to this really simple but powerful framework, the 3A action plan.
So here's how it works. First, you automate. This is the secret weapon. Seriously, you set up automatic transfers to your investment accounts for the day you get paid. This takes emotion and willpower completely out of the equation. It makes saving your default setting, not some daily choice you have to make. Second, you adapt your lifestyle. By consciously spending less, you literally shrink the final goal you have to hit. And third, you accelerate your income. Find ways to earn more so you can invest more, which just dramatically speeds the whole thing up.
Now, what's really fascinating is just how powerful that adapt phase is. I mean, look at this. By cutting your annual costs from $60,000 down to $50,000, you don't just save 10 grand a year. No, you literally buy back 3 full years of your life. That's 3 fewer years you have to spend stuck in a job you don't love.
And the impact of accelerating? Just as dramatic. On the left, you see the default path. Investing $1,000 a month gets you to your goal in about 34 years. Hey, that's a respectable timeline. But look to the right. By finding a way to accelerate that contribution, to double it to $2,000 a month, you slash the timeline down to just 25 years.
That is a 9-year difference. Almost an entire decade of your life just given back to you. A decade of freedom, of travel, of time with your family, of doing what truly matters to you, all of it gained just by having a focused plan and accelerating that journey.
So I'll just leave you with this one question. Because at the end of the day, it's not really about the money or the math. It's about what the math makes possible. If you could buy back a whole decade of your life, what would you do with it?